Morning, this is Breakfast, BBC Radio London. Great to be alongside you this morning, 13 minutes after 9, and in light of us expecting the government's response to the Grenfell Tower inquiry today, we're speaking about possible changes to come. Disability Rights UK notes lawyers involved in the inquiry described it as a landmark act of discrimination against disabled and vulnerable people. Earlier on in the programme, I spoke to fire safety expert Arnold Tarling. He told me what he thinks the government should be focusing on.
They were stressing earlier on the piece that it's details matter, details matter. You can have as many details as you like. Financing it matters. If you're not putting the money into these new organisations and the HSE and the trading standards and the building control, you can have as many details as you want because everything's still going to slip through the net because you haven't got the right number of people checking it and making sure people do things properly. So the government must ensure that it's properly funded.
There you go, Arnold Tarling speaking to us earlier on. Our reporter Gemma O'Reilly joins us now. Gem, tell us what's happening today and why this is so important for disabled people. Good morning.
Morning, Aaron. So the Phase 2 of Grenfell inquiry included 58 recommendations, like requiring high-rise building owners to provide safety plans. And we'll find out later today how many of these will be taken on, particularly in a time when the government is trying to build more housing, with the target being 1.5 million new homes. So it'll be really interesting to see how Grenfell's recommendations will impact those decisions. And it's important to know, as you say, disabled people massively affected by the outcome of this. There's been a lot of criticism for more than 7 years about the outcome for disabled people in Grenfell. Campaign group GLADAG wanted it to be a legal requirement for escape plans to be in place for those who might not be able to get out safely in an emergency, and this case went to the High Court in 2023, but a Home Office consultation found that the Grenfell Tower inquiry's recommendations would be too costly and impractical to implement. That was back in 2023, but since then, Adam Gabsi, the chair of Inclusion London, has been campaigning for personal emergency evacuation plans. So Adam, here 2 years on, what do you hope the outcome will be for today? You've been campaigning about this since 2020.
Hopefully the outcome is there are reasonable advice is put in place. So we'd want reasonable things to come out of this, and we'd want real plans for disabled people moving forward. I mentioned earlier on, Gemma, that Lakanal House was in 2009 and Grenfell was in 2017, and we're here in 2025 still waiting for reasonable adjustments to be put in place. The safety of disabled people is paramount. And I think, 72 people died in Grenfell. 17 of those were disabled people. But how many of the 72 were family of the 17 disabled people that couldn't leave family members behind? So without plans for evacuation in case of an emergency, this could affect loads of people. So hopefully coming out of the government's response are plans to actually take forward the advice from the recommendations of Grenfell Phase 1.
And you've been waiting for responses from the government, haven't you? Because you've been lobbying to change this since the High Court outcome wasn't, the result that you were expecting in 2023. You've just received something now, literally while I've been with you, Adam. What is that from the government? What are they saying to you about more negotiations?
The government would like to arrange a meeting to discuss my views on best practices for adapting information to ensure accessibility. So I have been trying to get the point across to the government that, deaf people need information via BSL, and the information should be in Braille, and the information should be in easy read. However, there's been some sort of reluctance to this as to now, and I'm hoping going forward they really understand that disabled people need information in different formats, and it's not as easy to. Phase 2 is a very well written long document, and they need to. Why is that not even an easy read? It should be accessible, and I'm glad to hear that they want to work with us at Inclusion London with regard to accessibility.
As a wheelchair user yourself, Adam, on top of being a campaigner and working on this for many years, the fact that the outcome of 2023's High Court case was cost issues, how does that make you feel?
What is the value on someone's life, right? So it's difficult to put a monetary value on the value of someone's life. However, they seem to be saying it's too costly to implement personal emergency evacuation plans. I don't think this is accurate. I've been working with someone very closely who has worked out the financial.
I just wonder if we've lost Gem there. Our reporter Gemma O'Reilly talking to Adam. Gem, are you there?
Yes, can you hear us?
There, sorry, whilst Adam was mid-flow. Go back on.
Oh, sorry. My question to Adam was about how he feels that the government put the reason down to not implementing personal emergency evacuation plans down to cost. So Adam is a wheelchair user and campaigner. Adam, how does that make you feel that it came down to money?
Yeah, sorry about that, Aaron. I was just saying that I'm working with someone quite closely who has worked out the costs, and for on average a PEEP is only 2 hours of £20 an hour. So you're talking about £40 on average to get a PEEP in place. For the 17 people that died in Grenfell, that equates to £1,500. That's not a massive amount of money. I feel like it's something the government could do. And, you know, they need to think about things going forward. I think it's a poor excuse to constantly blame money, and it gives them the ability to continue kicking the ball into the long grass.
It's important to note that we did approach the government for a statement this morning. We haven't received one yet on this. And also, they said in their last report, as a result of the High Court case in 2023 that Adam was involved in, that they were looking at alternative measures for disabled people. But we still don't know the outcome of that. So it would be interesting to see what comes from today, Aaron, with the recommendations and what's taken on.
Gem, thank you so much. That is our reporter Gemma O'Reilly out and about in Harrow. Now look, we are expecting the government's response to the Grenfell Tower inquiry today. We're speaking about possible changes to come, and we will be across that story as it breaks here on BBC Radio London this morning.